The following is brought to you in part by a grant from the Foundation for White Well-Being.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Gulag Café. Tonight, we'll be talking about something silly and fun, but something that has affected the discourse quite a bit. And we're going to pontificate on a few things about certain mind viruses, let's say, and what can lead people to think and believe in certain things that they probably shouldn't with the right mind. And what better else to start this off with than the QAnon prophecy? So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Before we get started, I do have a couple of announcements to make. Let me make sure that Entropy is live because I just remembered to check it. Yes, it is, and I am still logged in. That is good. During the course of the stream this time, Gulag Cafe is not like Empire of Lies. It's not scripted. It's much more loose. So whenever paid chats come in, we will be reading them and responding to them as they come in, as time allows during the conversation. And of course, I remind you, please use Entropy to send us paid chats. I like the Entropy people. They have a great service. I want to support them. You can find Entropy in the description of wherever you're listening to this or in the pinned comment in the chat. Also, you can send in short messages on Cash App and PayPal, as well as tips over on Subscribestar. And I would deeply appreciate monthly subscriptions over on Subscribestar. I have even $1 a month tiers. And as a reminder, all the money I bring in on this stream series, I split 50-50 with my friend Chris here. We are both starving artists, and we would appreciate your dollars so much if you would share a few of those with us. I know it's hard times. We're all suffering. I get it. Speaking of hard times and suffering, the hurricane hit my area pretty bad. We had some washouts. We had some floods. My homes and farmstead thing are okay, or farmland, not farmstead. My farmland is fine. We're used to it flooding a bit, so it's fine. Neither my mother's house or the house I live in here with my husband got any damage at all, but a lot of the things in our local area did. But we didn't get hit near as hard as West North Carolina. That place has gotten hammered, and it is bad. And the government is being very bad to them. Pray for them, reach out to them, help them if you can. If you're listening to this and you live in the nearby area, just help them out. So our area was kind of damaged by flood and winds, but nothing like just like 50 or 100 miles away over in North Carolina. It was really bad over there. But I'm fine. Internet and power are stable since Tuesday. Things seem okay here. We are good to go. So unless you hear otherwise, all of my scheduled regular things are back in effect and there will be no interruption. So Chris, anything you want to talk about or preface the stream with before we get started?
Good evening, Tovarishi, and welcome to another wonderful night at the Gulag Cafe. We have many exciting diversions for you. No bourgeoisie or capitalist diversions. Diversions for good Soviet inhabitants of the United Kingdom Soviet Republic. Yes, we have many treats for you tonight. Rat kebabs are off, but we do have maggot balls and fried cockroach. Very, very sustainable. Tonight, we are talking about horrible capitalist prophecy that was dreamed up by delusional fascists during the first reign of Orange Man, whose name we do not speak. Yes, I am talking about QANON. Very, very bad.
Except evil prophets of Cheeto Hitler.
Yes, except of course, when used by glorious communists in order to confuse our enemies, and oh yes, they were very, very confused. Yes, tonight we're talking about QAnon prophecy. Why? I don't know. It seemed like something cool. I was just coming across it on 4chan because of all the stuff that's happening in the Middle East. Everyone's like whipping out their QAnon posts again, and I thought, let's take the piss out of QAnon. And plus, there has been the development of James Lindsay finding his own little patch of QAnon or BlueAnon. I think it is now fair to call Mr. Lindsay the woke center. Pretty much, I mean, well, it's true, right?
I see what you did. You did flip on him. You flipped it back on him. I see.
It's true, though, right? If his definition of woke is sort of taking stuff too far and being like, oh my God, then he is by definition the woke center now. So yes, we'll be going over that.
We got a Cash App already from Jason. Jason sends in his usual $6. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. To say, Q-tards ho!
Q-tards, trust the plan, bros. The storm
trust the plan,
is
brothers.
coming. where we go one, we
Oh
go
my God.
all, and all these other. I mean, look, if you guys were around on 4chan during the 2020 elections, this shit was everywhere. Oh
Yeah.
wait, hang on, can we show the meme first?
Oh yeah. Let's put up the meme here.
Excellent meme, tovarishi. Excellent meme. Gulags were indeed compassionate and educational institutions. That is why you're in one now. Yeah. Okay. So right. I couldn't resist this meme.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really funny. It's really funny.
So,
So
QAnon.
let's give a very brief synopsis of what QAnon was and or is, and then we'll talk about why it's retarded, and we'll tie it into things that are going on right now. So go ahead and take it away.
Okay. So QAnon was, I mean, this is the Wikipedia thing, right? So like all of these kinds of things, Wikipedia will say one thing and then you go to the sort of like tarded things and they say other. They reckon that it started in 2017. Quite frankly, no one really saw it until 2020. It started with Pizzagate, and the idea, which of course is completely untrue, that the US government is ruled by a bunch of pedophiles and runs on blackmail and human trafficking. What a preposterous notion. There's absolutely nothing that would suggest that. Epstein, P. Diddy. It's I mean, who would have thought, right? But it really took off when in 2020, when Trump got defeated, and there was all this stuff about trust the plan. Basically, they're like, oh my god, trust the plan, bros. Don't worry, don't worry about the election being stolen. It's fine. They're gonna sweep in at any moment. Patriots are in control. And it had a bunch of these sort of like just weird sayings, right? Patriots are in control. Where we go one, we go all. The QAnon account, or I don't know whether there was just one or a bunch of them, they put out these like weird sort of posts on Telegram that looked like this sort of weird like military intelligence speak for people who'd never been in the military. It's very, very weird. It's like a kind of sort of modern religion. It looked like it was specifically tailored for people who had basically watched too many conspiracy theories. We're living in a unique time in which ordinary citizens around the world are collaborating to understand and expose the corrupt system that rules us. The system thrives on deception, and the overwhelming task of the Great Awakening is to penetrate its lives and reveal the truth. The first phase of the Great Awakening is a heightened awareness of the deep state. The
1776 will happen again.
Interlocking governmental entities that operate outside the law to expand their own power. Elections and popular opinion don't impact the ability of the deep state to enforce its agenda. The second phase of the Great Awakening investigates the deep state's alliance with other powerful sectors. The media, Hollywood, charities, and nonprofits, public schools and universities, religious organizations, medical, scientific, and financial institutions, and multinational corporations. Now, I mean, basically, I pretty much agree with most of this.
Yeah, but
the thing about sort of QAnon is it veers from sort of things like an understanding of the deep state to this sort of what looked like basically a massive containment op that happened around 2020. Now, the idea behind this was that patriots, right, shouldn't go out in the street and protest against the Democrats winning and the stealing of the election, which totally wasn't stolen, by the way, right? Like, you have to be some kind of a conspiracy theorist to think that, or possibly have eyeballs. One or the other, right? Now, this drew comparisons between QAnon and a Russian operation called Operation Trust, or Operacja Trest, if you want to speak Russian, which was a counterintelligence operation of the GPU of the Soviet Union. That's the secret police. The operation, which was set up by GPU's predecessor, the Cheka, ran from 1921 to 1926 and set up fake anti-Bolshevik resistance organization called the Monarchist Union of Central Russia, or the MUCR. In order
wait,
to
you're telling me that governments use intelligence wings of their government to subvert organic patriotic movements and use them for their regime? I wonder if anybody else knows about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously this is a conspiracy theory and this never happened. I mean, despite the fact this being on Wikipedia, Wikipedia obviously has been infested by conspiracy theorists, right? So essentially, basically, what this was an entrapment organization, right? This
Yeah.
was dreamt up allegedly by Felix Dzerzhinsky, who was the head of the Cheka, who is a sort of legend in intelligence circles. And basically the idea, right, was that you get all the monarchists to join, right, so that you could identify who they are. And then the other sort of like very important thing they did was they traveled abroad and contacted Russian royalist emigres, right? This was known as like the white movements. If you're familiar at all with Russian revolutionary history, it was the Reds, the communists versus the whites, the royalists. And basically they'd go over to these exiles and say, look, bros, right? Don't do anything, right? We've got it sorted. Trust the plan, bro. In 2 more weeks, right? In 2 more weeks, we're gonna smash the Reds. And this was incredibly effective. Sorry, go on, yes.
And that's, I wanted to point out that that was a major thing that the Q-tard conspiracy stuff pushed, was getting a lot of Gen X and boomers that were concerned and wealthy to do nothing, to just be chill, to stand by, to trust the plan, to not talk about it, to not care, and to think that everything was going to be okay, because that's what their programming wanted them to believe already.
Yes. Now, again, if we going back to Wikipedia, the MUCR kept the monarchist general Alexander Kutepov from any active actions, as he was convinced to wait for the development of internal anti-Bolshevik forces, which didn't exist because the government had killed everyone inside Russia who was an anti-Bolshevik. Kutepov had previously believed in militant action as a solution to the Soviet occupation and had formed the Combat Organization, a militant splinter of the Russian All-Military Union. He also created the Inner Line, which I think is a counterintelligence branch to prevent Bolshevik penetrations. It caused the Chekas some problems, but was not overtly successful, right? Now, this has a very, very interesting sort of story as well, right? Allegedly, I'm sort of going off the top of my head here, right? But allegedly, Stalin was not aware of how this worked. And when he found out from Dzerzhinsky that it was in fact the Cheka that was running the opposition movement, he was horrified. And he's like, stop doing that. And Dzerzhinsky was like, no, you don't understand. This is totally awesome. We know exactly who everyone is in the opposition. Yeah. They're not going to do shit.
And one of the things that not just me and you, but lots of the sensible content creators that we like Jason Kuna, who's with us tonight, like Academic Agent, like Don the Pleb, and a lot of these other people that we know that are in our circles that we have even met. Like, we tell you guys, when you start getting involved in these big tent, big nation movement things where you reveal yourself and go out in public and you join big groups, you're just asking for trouble. Like, you are putting yourself on a list that is monitored by people who hate you and want you to either be dead or in prison. Don't do it. Like, these things are always a trap. Even if they start off genuine, like, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
And this goes back to my Empire of Lies episode about 6th generation warfare. If you guys have watched it, where I basically say this is the environment that we're in, where essentially all nodes of resistance have either been co-opted or destroyed. And everyone is in a sort of situation where they just don't believe anything. They don't believe that any effective resistance was possible. Operation Trust was so successful. They replicated in East Asia, Japan, all these kinds of fake organizations they spun up. Now, it was quite interesting is that when they got the files in 93, they found it was 37 volumes and was such a bewildering welter of double agents, code names, and interlocking deception operations that Russian historians from the intelligence service had difficulty separating fact from fantasy. So it just became like a sort of deliberate wilderness of mirrors. If you're familiar with the idea of the wilderness of mirrors, in intelligence terms, it's when you can't tell fantasy from reality and everyone starts going crazy. But of course, communists, they kind of thrive in that sort of environment. So it's not really a problem.
That's why all of our political leaders seem insane. Because they live in this world of spin and psyop and fake news and they trust their own plan. They also are the ones, like we've talked about on Empire of Lies episodes. The propaganda is to shape the people who are the functionaries of the bureaucracy, to control their minds. So the political leaders we have, they are driven crazy like this because they live in this sea of basically this surreality or fake reality of all of these smoke and mirrors things all the time, propaganda and spin and fake news and all this stuff. And so I think it drives people mad. That's why I think all of our political officials look like mental patients like 100 years ago. Like they just look, they got bags under their eyes. They look like fake people. They give you uncanny valley, or they look undead. Like, look at all of our health ministers. Look at pictures of health ministers. Just Google it, right? Like, look at Google health minister. Pick a Western country. They look like sick cancer patients or undead. Like, it's bizarre. And this is what I think leads to that, and why they look so crazy and disheveled.
Now, Melon in the YouTube chat makes a very, very interesting point. There were several different iterations of Q. There were the original posts on 8chan, and then got onto 4chan, and then there were the drops websites and the YouTube boomer grifters, and that is absolutely true. For QAnon became essentially a huge phenomenon, right? Spawning all kinds of like not only sort of sayings, but also, you know, weird jokes. 2 more weeks, trust the plan. As it became increasingly clear to the US and to the rest of the world that the election of 2020 was not going to be reversed, that there were going to be no trials. All of the trials were dismissed on standing, that basically nothing was going to be done, and that everyone was going to have to cope with Biden for 4 years. This increasingly generated like a lot of scorn, a lot of demoralization, a lot of very snarky kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe you thought there was a political solution, bros, and all this kind of other stuff. But one of the most famous things to come out of the QAnon thing generally was the QAnon prophecies. Now, I'm susceptible to a good prophecy as much as the next guy. I don't know who it is that wrote these, but they're really good. They're vague enough to be stupid, but precise enough so that people can be like, oh, you know, that sounds really, you know. And so I'm just going to read them, you know. It will happen when the weather cools. That's when they'll make their move. Plans laid long ago, before the founding of America, and older still, will come to fruition. They're trying to force God's hand. Watch for these signs. 3 branches will become one. An island will drift away. A killing bolt will shine in the night, but will not kill. A star will gorge itself on clay. Idols will speak and move about. The black flag will fly above the dome. The belly of the dragon will drip water. 2 voices will call out in a silence that all will hear. A rock will stand on 7 hills. The ravens will starve. The bear will leave its cave forever. The rod and the ring will strike. you really gotta read it in that kind of like History Channel.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Now, this is kind of like fun because there's just so much retarded stuff you can do with this. I really quite like the joke versions. It will happen when the bacon cools. That's when I'll eat breakfast. The plan's laid out since the night before. I'm trying to have a complete breakfast. Watch for these items. A few slices of pig turned to crisp. 2 offerings from chickens. Sun up. Some wheat turned square, slightly fruity. An offering from tree, extra pulp. A bean that awakens the soul. If anyone knows any more like really good joke versions, there's a Taco Bell one, but it's kind of like gross.
Oh, I've read that one before. Yeah. No, don't read that. No, don't read that.
I won't read that one.
Yeah.
That's pretty gross.
It's pretty gross.
Now, this has led to like a lot of like sort of weird speculation. Okay, so for example, there's the one about the black flag flying above the dome, right? People assume it's the Dome of the Rock, but it's never been raised above the Dome of the Rock. It has been raised above, like, you know, some mosques in Iran. It's like I said, it's totally vague enough to be like cool, you know. So this is the black flag being raised in Iran above the Imam Reza shrine on Mashhad.
Is
in
that the War of
2023.
Retribution flag they put up when they strike? Is that one? Because I
No,
know
it's
they
a
have
symbol of
different flags
no
in the.
in Shia. It's a symbol of mourning.
Okay, I didn't know.
It was after an Israeli airstrike hit a hospital, killing 500 people. For which, of
Oh,
course, I mean, you know, like, you know,
damn.
yeah, it happens a lot. So I thought we would, you know, get some 4chan posts and wildly speculate about what these could mean. Allegedly sent back in time from the future. Excuse me.
This will
By
be fun,
operative,
guys. I promise. Just listen.
by operative Q. You know, right? He could see into the future, bros, but he couldn't like just leave a detailed description of what's going to happen. No. He had to couch it in very, very vague kind of like stuff, just like Nostradamus, which is why everyone's still talking about Nostradamus today, because all of his predictions were vague enough that they can be reinterpreted, sort of like, you know, as the mood strikes.
And if you wait 100 years, they can all come true again.
If Nostradamus had just said, in the year such and such, this thing will happen, well, it would either happen or it didn't. But because Nostradamus was really vague, same kind of like stuff. So, so when the weather cools, Trump is elected, allegedly, right? The plans laid long ago, the destruction of Christianity. There's so many posts like this on 4chan. I just went to the archives and just searched for when the weather cools.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
They're trying to force God's hand, the end times. The three branches will become one. The USA, the EU, and Israel will like merge together. An island will drift away. China finally takes Taiwan. People have been saying it's, you know, it's Brexit, you know, Britain drifting away from the EU, but is drifting back to the EU, right? So we really need like an updated, you know, an island will drift away and then get flooded by Somalians and then drift back, right? It's interesting the stuff that isn't in here, right? There's no mention of mass migration, you know, like you know, two whites will become brown or anything like that, right? A killing bolt will shine in the night but will not kill. Lucifer. Oh, that's very, very elucidatory of you there. Anon. A star will gorge itself on clay. Israel takes the Middle East with Trump, their King David Messiah. Of course, of course. The black flag will fly above the dome. Iran will weaponize Muslim rights in Europe. The dragon is Satan. God versus this is a very, very sort of like weird version. There are better ones actually. So it will happen.
I like this one. I thought it was very biblical.
Yeah, I thought this one was pretty good as well. It'll happen when the weather cools. A new ice age is about to happen, and they know it. I mean, yeah, maybe. That's when they'll make their move. The signs of a new ice age are already here. Climate age is actually the dawn of it. History is fake. The people who now control our lives began their moves around the 1700s. They created America with one specific purpose. I don't know what that specific purpose was. They're trying to invoke the Catholicism. They're trying to invoke the apocalypse. Pardon me. Islam, Catholicism, and Judaism will become one. That's sort of, I mean, the UN is sort of trying to do that, to be fair.
Yep.
England will become a new, totally independent state, never seen before. Yeah, pressing X to doubt on that one, buddy. EMP on electronic systems. I presume this is the strike in the killing bolt that will shine. Idols will speak and move about. Political parties will promote the globalist agenda. I guess fair enough. Flood in China. So the one about the belly of the dragon will drip water. The most common interpretation is that the Three Gorges Dam will collapse, but that hasn't happened, despite everyone being like, "Oh, bro,
it looks like it's about to, though."
Yeah, 2 more weeks, bro.
2 more weeks. Just trust the dam.
Two voices will call out in a silence that all will hear. The unification of East and West. The ravens will starve. Global food shortage. Now, see, I think personally, right, the ravens is basically usually refers to the ravens in the Tower of London. So there is an old prophecy in England that when the ravens leave the Tower of London, the monarchy will end or something. Chat, does anyone know? When the ravens leave the Tower of London, something bad is going to happen. Maybe everyone in the UK will starve to death. Oh, mate, bugs have never looked so good. Or freeze to death in
the winter because they can't afford power anymore.
I will eat my neighbors. I've already got my barbecue sauce ready. It's a good thing I like brown meat where I'm living.
Oh, Gross. I don't even want to eat them.
The bear will leave a cave forever. That's usually seen as, Russia becoming like ascendant on the world stage. The rod and the ring will strike. Well, no one knows what the fuck that means. Really, I've never seen. It's just very, very vague. Basically, now this one is pretty good. Again, it'll happen where the weather cools. So every winter, people trot this out. Basically, like, oh my god, the weather is cooling, bros. Don't you know? So the plans made long ago, rebuilding of the Second Temple. The sacrifice of the red heifer, trying to force God's hand. 3 branches will become one. The US government basically assuming sort of martial law or a unitary executive. An island will drift away. The UK cutting ties with Europe over the impending war. Now that's a pretty interesting one, given that Europe is basically on the brink of bankruptcy. They may be forced to pull out of the Ukraine war. The UK, of course, is like, no, we're gonna support Ukraine literally forever. I think they're giving like 30 billion a year, but they can't afford 1.2 billion to give money to pensioners who are dying of the cold. So it's good. It's good to see that they know where their priorities are at. A killing bolt that will shine in the night. A nuclear test of a small yield device on uninhabited land in Eastern Europe. Now that is quite interesting. I mean, that could happen. To be fair, this is from the 29th of March this year. The further you go back, the more crazy the predictions seem, for obvious reasons, right? The star will gorge itself on clay. Most people think of this is to do with Israel grabbing more land. Idols will speak and move about. Artificial intelligence and humanoid robots. So apparently, I don't know if this is true, but the black banner flying above the Dome of the Rock, signaling the arrival of the Mahdi. So the Mahdi is basically like the second coming of Muhammad, like not precisely.
It's much different from the arrival of Muad'Dib. It's much different.
Yeah. Well, Muad'Dib, I think, was the Mahdi actually in June.
Yeah.
The arrival of the Mahdi. I wish I had my my Muslim friend here to I can't say I've got a Muslim friend. 4chan's going to revoke my my white pass. But yes, I've got a friend who knows tons of stuff about this kind of like shit. Sorry if I'm butchering it, mate. But I believe the arrival of the Mahdi signals the start of the apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah.
Three Gorges Dam again. 2 voices will call out in a silence that all will hear. Christians and Muslims speaking out against the Jews. Okay, interesting. A rock will stand on 7 hills, the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, which stands on 7 hills. So this would probably be the rebuilding of the Second Temple again.
Yeah.
The ravens will starve at the Tower of London. If the ravens leave the tower, the kingdom will fall. Yes, I think that's the prophecy. The bear will leave its cave. Russian military expansion into Western Europe. And the rod and the ring will strike. The final worldwide Christian crusade and Muslim jihad against the Jews. Okay. We got more.
How did they get that from Staff and Ring or whatever? Like that?
Mate, it's 4chan, right? Like, everything's about the Jews on 4chan.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah, it's true.
Oh my god, like it must be the Jews,
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I don't spend much time on Poll anymore.
Oh, I don't know.
I like Poll. I go there occasionally.
I kind of like it. I hate getting my news from like ordinary sources. It's just not coarse enough for me now. Like if they went on and dropped a few N bombs and stuff like that, I'd probably start watching mainstream news again. I just need my news to be a bit more edgy.
Yeah,
I
mean, I get news from like Red Ice and Black Pill. Like, yeah, trust me, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So we've got some more versions. How long are we going? We're about up to half an hour.
Yeah, we're at half hour, so we got plenty of time.
Okay. Forcing God's hand. America finally intervenes in Ukraine and/or Israel. Well, that's already happened. 3 branches will become one. Same thing. Brexit. The killing bolt. Something about UFOs. The ISIS flag above the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Idols will speak and move about. People like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates get more ballsy about their objectives. Well, that has certainly happened already. China fucks up big time. 2 voices will call out in a silence. The US and Mexico will both hold presidential elections in 2024. Have fun with that thought. The ravens will starve, another pandemic. Putin gets Mussolini very publicly for all the world to see in an aggressive dick-slinging move by the CIA, and Russia balkanizes within our lifetime. I don't know about that. The rod and the ring will strike. AI claims its first human life in one way or another. I think that's probably will happen, to be perfectly honest. And finally, this is another joke one.
Oh, this is funny. Yeah, this is one of the ones you linked earlier, right?
It'll happen when the weather cools.
Yeah, read this one and then we'll move on and talk about something else because I got some things I want to bring up.
The cocks are shrinking in the winter. That's when they make their move. The muzzies move to the EU. Plans made long ago before the founding of America. TND.
Yeah.
They're trying to force
Alex, there's your TND. I saw you say it earlier in the chat.
They're trying to force God's hand. Those pesky Hebes. Watch for these signs. 3 branches will become one. Weed dude 420 Lamau. An island will drift away. Some fat chick just flew over my house. A killing bolt will shine in the night, but will not kill. New Year's Eve fireworks. The star will gorge itself on clay. The Jewish star falls on the ground. Idols will speak and move about. Remigration. I wish.
Yeah,
the black flag will fly above the dome. Wagner PMC flag over Capitol Hill. The belly of the dragon will drip water. Prego squirt.
Oh.
2 voices will call out in a silence that all will hear. Jordan Peterson and Bibi Netanyahu do a podcast.
I like that one. That's a good one.
The ravens will starve. No deaths, just friggin' psyops like Sandy Hook. The bear will leave its cave forever, caused by the climate change. Stupid. And this is my favorite one. The rod and the ring will strike. Dem Rangs of Power launches in Germany. So there you go.
Yeah. So
that's all the QAnon that we have for the moment. You have some comments on this, Years?
Yeah, the reason I wanted to laugh about this is I need you guys to understand it's not wrong of you to have hope and to hope that there are people, men of good character and good morals and the strength that requires to do the right thing in the face of evil. That's not wrong to have that hope. I have that hope. What I want you to understand about the QAnon stuff, do not let your hope and your good nature be weaponized against you. That is the nature of how us regular good-minded folk get psyoped and neutralized. And the QAnon stuff really did spread like wildfire among boomers. Even my mother and her husband, who want to have nothing to do with politics, they know nothing about 4chan or anything, even they learned about it through like Facebook and old people talking about it at work. Like, it's just like it spread like wildfire among that demographic. And I think that was on purpose. I think it was on purpose to further confuse and psyop them and reinforce their boomer truth regime anti-white programming to think that they didn't need to do anything or care. Like, and remember, that's how they were raised. Hyper-individualism, bootstrapping it, everything's going to be great forever, line go up forever, don't care about anything, selfish hedonism forever, and it's all going to work out. That's how they were programmed. So remember, psyops, it's not like MK Ultra is not like they capture you and take you to a program and turn you into something. No, they look for people who are already prone to do what they want anyway and then edge them that way. They nudge them. That's why we have the phrase nudge unit. So modern, quote, MK Ultra stuff is creating psyops, propaganda, and nudge units that push people to do the things you want them to do in ways that they are already prone to do anyway, or things they are already prone to do anyway. So when you hear things that maybe sound too good to be true or sound out there, they probably are. Trust your gut on that. Even if you want to believe they're true, you probably shouldn't. And again, I can't tell you what is and isn't real about any of this stuff because I don't have magic powers. I'm not God. I don't know everything that's going on in the government or the war machine or any of that stuff. I don't know that stuff. But what we do know is all the stuff we cover on this channel about lies and manipulation and subterfuge and negative propaganda, straight up lies, fake news, intimidation, demoralization. All this stuff is real. It's real, and it has been applied to us. Since before our parents were born, it has been applied to us where we live. So just keep that in mind. Like, don't let the next QAnon, whatever that might be in a few years, don't let yourself fall prey to it. Harden your mind against that stuff and speak wise words and share streams like this and other content like this with people you care about, because we need people acting intelligently and not being hoodwinked to just nod their heads like sheep and say, yes, please abuse me and replace me. That's okay. Go ahead. Woohoo, go America. I love Israel. Like don't you got to be not like that. Like, and I know it hurts. It hurts me too to know that my patriotic identity I was raised on is a fucking lie. It hurts me. It hurts me to say that and to believe that now, but it's true. So you got to walk yourself away from that, and you have to look forward and think about what you can realistically do with your life to make things better going forward. We don't have power. Like, all of this will of the people, power of the people shit is just fucking, it's a lie. It's a lie of liberalism. It's a lie of Marxism, et cetera, et cetera. What we can and can't do is something you need to embrace. As a regular person, as like a rural Appalachian, I don't have any control over Capitol Hill or the rotten snakes that run it or international money people like BlackRock and Vanguard, the World Economic Forum. Like, I can't influence them people. Like, people say you can vote with your wallet. Well, no, you can't. Not when when they don't care about profits and they print the money anyway. So it's like, not even that libertarian stuff matters anymore. That stuff's kind of a lie too. So just be wise and realize that what you can do and what you can affect is small. It's on a small scale. You can build good families, make good personal connections with others, start a Go Free Club, join a chapter of the Old Glory Club. Do things on the small scale and let that be a light to guide others to do the same. I think that's what we should focus on. Not caring about prophecies or like, oh, we got good people in the government, all this QAnon stuff. Oh, I'm sure there's a bunch of patriots in control. Like, that's when something's too good to be true, it probably is. And just, I want everybody listening to be realistic about what you can achieve and what you can do with your time and energy. And don't be hoodwinked by this PSYOP stuff. Like, I really want you guys to understand how damaging this QAnon stuff was to thousands and thousands of Gen X and Boomer people. It really messed with them. And it led them to inaction. It led them to negative action in many cases, and they got in trouble or they wasted money. Like,
I mean, not only that, it sort of played sort of very, very straight into the Boomer Truth regime, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea that, daddy government or the intelligence agencies or the military were going to like step in and save everyone and right the wrongs. I think you could make an argument that, it goes back to the Boomer Truth regime that, because the Boomers fought evil and won against evil through the military, therefore there would be no way that evil could take over their country. You know what I mean? There must be a secret, all these people raised on the History Channel and all this stuff of World War II, of, how we went out and we, defeated the mustache man. Well, it must still be there. But these people really had a hard
something
time.
I noticed, because I used to watch the Hitler Channel. We even called it the Hitler Channel because the little H in the corner. Like, every time you turn it on, it's about Nazi shit. So it's like we just called it the Hitler Channel. But anyway, on the History Channel, something I noticed in my 20s when I was getting older and wiser, you notice that they don't actually subtitle Hitler's speeches that Goebbels wrote. They just summarize it. They don't actually let you hear what he was saying because of how agreeable and sensible it would sound to people in the modern era. So just to let you know, PSYOPs goes all the way back to 80s and 90s television, guys. I know. Yeah. I was there. I paid attention.
Yeah. So shall we move on to James Lindsay's melting?
Yes.
Let's
now, for this part of the stream, we're going to talk about how all of this stuff we covered, all the things we talked about, this was all aimed at like patriotic, nationalistic, Gen X Boomer people that are of that natural mindset. Now we're going to talk about a different kind of QAnon retardation, which is whatever the hell is going on with James Lindsay.
Yeah, so Lindsay is, I don't know what's going on with old James. He basically seems to be having like a sort of, he's disappeared into his own kind of like QAnon kind of like conspiracy. It's not that he's wrong about a lot of this stuff about, the sort of theosophy being behind the UN. what has happened, though, is that he has basically come to the conclusion that everyone who doesn't agree with him is part of a dialectical operation to destroy liberalism.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm not sure he even is a liberal himself anymore, because he is basically becoming like a woke centrist, right? Lindsay is now basically infamous for like blocking anyone who disagrees with him. If you reply and you sort of like make any kind of pushback, he'll just block you. This was very, very famously demonstrated when Carl Benjamin offered to debate him, and he just blocked him, basically saying that Carl knows nothing about politics. Now, that's
that
a
ain't far
bold
from the
strategy,
truth.
Cotton. Like, you know. So basically, what happened was that Michaelmas was recently a thing, and I think was it Flynn posted a thing basically saying, happy Michaelmas, everybody. No, that's right. Trump posted the prayer of St. Michael. Let me see if we can get it up, right? So the prayer of St. Michael is basically like a Catholic thing that was invented by Pope Pius the Ninth, I think. And it's basically like, St. Michael, like, please, help us to defeat evil and stuff like that. It allegedly came to Pope Pius after he had like a vision, and supposedly it makes demons like quake in their boots and stuff like that. And James took like massive exception to this, and believed essentially that what had happened was that Trump had been, here we go. Yeah, here's the tweet, right? So it's Michaelmas, a day like, quite important to Catholics. I guess it depends. Saint Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle, be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. This is a picture, of course, of St. Michael BTFOing the devil. Based, right?
Based.
Now, James basically, right, started saying that this was part of an op, right? That someone that they'd gotten to Trump, right? That, like, he was, and Lindsay's basic argument is that everything, like literally everything, is part of this dialectic sort of like thing. Now, look, dialectics are absolutely a thing, but the problem with spending too much time studying this kind of stuff, trust me, I know this, is that it can start to melt your brain.
You know how we have super cancer? Does he have super TDS?
No, he likes Trump.
This is late stage super TDS. He's about to die.
He's got some, I don't know, he's got dialectic derangement syndrome, or like a DDS or something. It's very, very, very weird, right? So the first thing that started to really annoy me about James is, despite being an atheist, he keeps trying to gatekeep Christians. I find this very, very offensive. Okay, I'm not Catholic, I'm Orthodox. But if Lindsay came to me and said, like, you're not really Orthodox, I'd be like, bitch, you're not even Christian. Could you just, I would probably ask him whether he's going to say that to a rabbi, for example. I'd be like, oh, rabbi, right? I doubt it. It's a trend of this thing where, you can criticize the Christians as much as you want, because at heart, Christians are generally very, very nice, is of course the bloody problem. So he calls this Operation Michael. And this is part of the woke right thing that he's going on. I kind of wish this had come out before we did. Was it last week's stream we did the woke right?
Yeah. I wish, or 2 ago, I don't remember, but I wish this would have come out before our stream where we talked about James Lindsay, because this would have been perfect for that.
Crispy13 in Rumble. Now is the time for James Lindsay gays to shut up and listen. That's right. A Christian is speaking, James.
Yeah, exactly.
So firstly, he's like saying most Americans, even Catholics, don't know anything about Archangel Michael, except in a very vague sense. I grew up Catholic. Michaelmas was not a thing ever with any Catholic I knew. And a whole bunch of other Catholics are like, well, we celebrate it. So, what the fuck, man, right? Like, so now Michael idolatry will be a big thing for our side. And the Theosophists will fill in the details of what it means to be most what it means for most broadly ignorant Americans to mislead Christians further, particularly towards war and violence. Well, I mean, it seems to me that James has a very, very particular view of Christianity that does not involve some of the more, let's say, rambunctious and violent parts of Christianity, right? Christianity has been around for a long time, right? There have been many wars that have involved Christians. This idea.
Can
Sorry,
I request? Can I request the Power Armor Heavy Flamer Crusading Christianity? I would like more of that, please.
Yes, I agree. And then once it's over, we can all, sit down and, and be all 130 IQ Anglo, right?
Yes. And then
so
we can go back, and then pagans and Christians can go back to arguing like we're supposed to.
Now, to be fair, this is, quite a sort of Judaized version of Christianity, the Schofield Bible, and this idea that being Christian basically means you don't ever do shit, right? So, to be a Christian means like never fighting for anything and just laying down and basically letting people kick you to death. And that's not actually very Christian, right? Like, Jesus, when he went to the temple of the moneylenders, he didn't just like lay down and be like, oh, I guess there's nothing I can do, right? He took out a whip and he started overturning tables and, right? So this is a very, very particular sort of modern view of Christianity that Lindsay is advocating for here. And I think a lot of Christians are getting particularly annoyed with this constant interpretation of Christianity, meaning that, well, if you're a Christian, you basically have to let your entire civilization be destroyed. Otherwise, it's not very Christian of you. I am particularly annoyed with this interpretation, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, since it's a dialectical attack, the left will use it to characterize Trump as a religious warlord type, fitting the worst of Operation Christian Nationalism. Yeah, Lindsay's got a real hard on for like Christian nationalism. He reckons it's going to be, excuse me, be a thing.
Well, I mean, he ought to be afraid of it. I'd put him on a cross. I hate this guy.
Yes, that's not very Christian of you.
No, it's my kind of Christian. Like I said, I'm the Power Armor Crusade type of Christian. I want to get shit done and punish evil.
No, Lindsay clearly speaks for all Christians. You must be mistaken, bro.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right?
He speaks for somebody, and it ain't Christians.
So, because of the left-right dialectic in play in this operation, we'll all be forced to take a side or dip out into irrelevance. Meanwhile, let's see. Theosophists have a very particular and evil interpretation of Michael as the bringer of the new age and the driver of human evolution, which they explicitly seek to control. He is the bridge and mediator for them between the figures of Christ, Lucifer, and the Zoroastrian demon of chaos and division, Ahriman, who they regard as equally sacred parts of the triune whole. Now, that may be true. The Theosophists believe in a whole bunch of weird shit, right? But there are a lot of Christians who are not Theosophists. And it strikes me that if you try and go up to your average Catholic and say this kind of like stuff to them, they are going to be like, get the hell out of here, you crazy person, right?
They're going to say, WTF, please leave the church. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. Now, he goes on sort of talking more about, the Fetzer Institute, social emotional learning, and these are legitimate concerns.
Can I stop you? I forgot. I forgot. I got excited earlier laughing, and we got an entropy from Sheev Palpacringe like 20 minutes ago. I wanted to read. I forgot. I'm sorry, Sheev. Over on Entropy, Sheev Palpacringe for $3. He says, what is your take on heirloom or heritage fruit and vegetables?
Ooh, well, I'm not really much of a grower of stuff. So I'm not really qualified. Yiz, are you a gardener at all?
I have no idea what the hell he's asking. I'm typing it into DuckDuckGo right now.
Oh, right. So heritage or heirloom plant varieties are like sort of old strains that have been like sort of kept unaltered for like a long period of time. I know that heirloom tomato.
I'm familiar with that concept. I just didn't know what to call it. I mean, that sounds cool. Like up until like 2008, my mother had a yeast culture that someone down the street when I was a kid shared with her that they've been using since like 1902. So it's like I think keeping that kind of stuff alive is cool. I guess it's neat. I don't know anything about it, whether it's healthy or dangerous or not. I don't know. Like, I'm not into agriculture. I don't have my own garden like I used to when I was young, and a lot of my family did. But no, I don't really have an opinion on that, Sheev. I'm sorry. Like, that stuff sounds cool and I like it, and I'm definitely on board with it. But when it comes to any factoids or any advice on it, I got nothing to say. I don't know enough to comment on it. Sorry, buddy.
Okay, so back to this. So Lindsay is essentially low key, basically saying that Christians are stupid, right?
Yeah.
That they can't tell the difference between theosophy and Christianity. And presumably saying, well, there are a lot of people who are just, sort of like, vaguely Christian. Now, I'm sure this is true, but this does seem to be lessening. Christianity is having a bit of a revival at the moment, and I fully expect there are a bunch of people trying to direct that in certain ways. People like Jordan Peterson, for example, again, trying to make sure that it's a very, very harmless kind of like lay down while you get kicked in the face kind of Christianity, not the sort of don your power armor and your flamer and, burn the heretic kind of Christianity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he then ends, we must be more careful. We must also find out who fed this idea to Trump and expose the bad actors and dangerous fools in his circle. Trump is probably just becoming more Catholic because, like, he was basically saved by divine intervention. I don't know about you, right? But if I was like nearly shot in the face, right, and was saved by that, I would get much more religious, right? And then he shares this thing, which is an emblem for the Fetzer Institute. Now, that may be from the Fetzer Institute, but no Christian I know would use this kind of a symbol to represent anything. This is clearly, well, apart from looking extremely Jewish, is also clearly just not anything Christian. So
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that in any church or any Christian history or documents I've ever looked at. Like I went to an art school for 3 years, and art history was what I liked the most. I took all 9 art history classes they had, looked at tons of historical Christian art and sculptures and paintings and stuff. I never saw that symbol on any of that stuff. So
yeah. And we've got some. So okay, I would also recommend.
By the way, the 6-pointed star is the seal of Solomon. It didn't become
Yes.
associated with Judaism and Israel until like what, the 1700s, when Talmudic Jewry became, or Talmudic religious stuff became what Jewry is instead of like Torah stuff. Isn't that when it became a thing?
Something like that. Yeah, it's not as ancient as it would seem. Some of the replies to this are pretty good. From Clossington, when did James Lindsay become schizophrenic? His Gnostic conceptual history stuff was nonsense, but now he's getting into paranoid conspiratorial schizo babble. This guy's really good. It's the Feast of the Archangels today. It's very simple. Trump is having an authentic conversion after multiple attempts on his life, or he's trying to attract the Catholic vote, because that's how democracy works. Now, that seems like a much more simple explanation.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest.
And it could be both. Like, he wants to win, he wants to appeal to voters, and maybe he has actually changed a lot because of all that's happened in the last 5 years.
This is good. I grew up Catholic means you're about to hear some BS that isn't Catholic at all. Yeah, well, exactly, right? I mean, like, I'm not Catholic, but even I look at that stuff and I'm like,
I like what that Jones guy said. Atheist wall of text spotted.
mucho texto. Yeah, so James is he's just going a bit weird, mate. Again, banging on about the woke right that apparently includes Tim Pool. I just don't understand. How is Tim Pool the woke right? I don't understand, mate. It's very, very, very strange. He's also, I don't know, banging on about like Russell Brand now, because like Russell Brand has converted to Christianity after sort of like a long sort of phase of being like a hippie sort of drug weirdo. He did this thing with Jordan Peterson where they both knelt down and said the Lord's Prayer. And a lot of people are basically trying to gatekeep Russell Brand and say like his conversion isn't genuine. Well, who are you to judge? Like honestly, like, how, by what metric? As far,
I understand the skepticism, because look at Brand. He's clearly an entertainer. He's clearly someone who can be nudged and controlled. Why would you believe it's genuine? Especially because he needs to make a lot of money to maintain his lifestyle. Like I understand the skepticism, but we don't know. You can't know for sure. And also, just like with Trump, both could be true. Maybe he really has changed a lot, and he also wants to appeal to people to make money and stay relevant. Both can be true at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. And Brand has certainly
a good example of somebody who I believe is both is Kevin Sorbo. I followed Kevin Sorbo since the 90s because I love the old original Hercules shit on UPN, right? Kevin Sorbo had a big come to Jesus moment. I mean, he's always been Christian, but like he stopped associating with Hollywood because it's all filthy satanic Jews and pedos. And he's very open about that. And also, he has now made a career of making Christian content because he's an actor and he's a personality. So both can be true at the same time. That doesn't mean it's not genuine in both regards. So, you know, you don't know.
Ardent Party. By that logic, Trump should be looking to be a devout Shinto follower since it was Shinzo Abe that deflected the bullet.
Hey, Chris, the Jew fears the samurai.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Brand has also clearly also lived a life of great sin, and it's also clearly had like an effect on him, right? So, you know, if it's baked into the premise of Christianity, this idea of forgiveness and that you can change your life. So, you know, someone like, I mean, I don't know, I personally speaking, I get more genuine vibes off Russell Brand than I do off Jordan Peterson. I think Peterson still thinks that it's you know, it's just some kind of conceptual thing, and that it's, you know, he doesn't really believe in it. But again, I don't know. I cannot see into men's hearts.
With Peter Stein, though, I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. But Brand, I mean, he's an entertainer and a personality, so obviously you don't have the strongest force of will. So he can be used by people, but he comes off as more genuine. Like in what I've seen and heard of him and the tweets of his I've read, he seems like a more genuine person than Peter Stein.
Yeah, yeah, he seems to have much less of a filter. So this is the kind of like stuff that's, you know, that's going on. They're like, oh, you know, your religion is being subverted, and then, you know, the operatives, the subverters are like, oh my God, people are attacking your faith, and then it's like, oh, how dare you attack our faith? But the thing is, as I was saying, Lindsay clearly does not have a particularly good view of Christians if he believes that they're like all stupid enough to fall for this. Number one, they can't.
He thinks we're evil and stupid.
Yeah. And again, it annoys me. Like he's not a Christian, but he's going around telling everyone else, like, you know, what Christianity is about. That's, you know, I don't like it. He wouldn't do it to the Muslims, I imagine. So, right, we're nearly at the end. Have we got any more super chats or anything?
No, we have nothing. It has been a very dry night. I'll refresh all the sites, but I just checked a second ago, so we can go ahead and get out of here early. I had fun talking about this tonight, but we didn't have hardly any engagement. That's just how it is, because, you know, people are struggling and there's not a lot of money to go around. I understand how that is. And
was it a fun stream? Chat W's in the chat if you enjoyed it. Oh, mate, it's a dry season. I suppose everyone's hurting financially at the moment.
Yeah.
But it was lovely to have you all. We'll probably do Lennon and Race next week. I think I've recovered enough to like actually do like a proper script, which would be good. No, we got some W's in the chat.
Ardent Party says stick around a second, so maybe he's got something for us. Whether financial or relevant to what we were talking about.
Oh well, look, we have many W's in the chat.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the chat. We got Bleach Demon here. He was just on stream with me a few days ago. I got to meet him. Good to see you here. And we got all the usuals. We got Kate. We got Alex, Melon, Charlie, Big O's, Young at Heart, Timmy. We got JP in here. Good to see you, buddy. Let's see who else we've got. Stumbling is here with us tonight. He better late than never. We got, Mass Creation Broadcast. Good to see you here, buddy. You'll have to come back on the Discord of Dragons again soon. You haven't been on in a while. I'll reach out to you about that. We got Kingdom of Vinland. Good to see you too, buddy. I Don't Suck at Life. That's Janice. Good to see you too. And, we got Sunny Jim, Crystal Quasar. Man, lots of people are listening tonight. Good to see. We got old Nick. Good to see you, Nick. All right. Oh, JP showed up late. That's why I hadn't seen it. We got Linda. Hoyt, Linda. Good to see you. I hope you are well, my friend. All right. Well, who we got over in Rumble? Rumble was hopping tonight, too. We got Crispy, Fart Whiff, Teabagging, Wyatt's Torch, all the usuals over there. Good to see you, blokes. And we got Taciturn over in Odyssey. Good to see you, buddy. I appreciate all of your lengthy, thoughtful comments, by the way, on my morning walk videos. I like what you have to share. You're a good guy. I like you. Thank you
Actually,
for
Millen makes a
contributing.
good point. You're all sandwiched in between donation streams for North Carolina and Tennessee. It's going to be dry for a bit. Fair
That's
enough.
fine. That's good. I'm glad that money's going towards a better cause than just paying for my bills. Like they need it more than I do right now, so it's fine. I am a-okay with that. All right. What exactly am I waiting on, Ardent Party? He says
said,
never mind. He
yeah.
doesn't have a card set up. Oh, that's cool. No, it's cool, Ardent. I appreciate the donation, man, but it's all good. It's all good. Oh, Sheaf Palpacringe sends us $3 to say W in the chat.
Oh, thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Sheaf.
Appreciate
You're
it,
a good man. You're a good man. I appreciate that. I assume you're a man. Like I've been calling you a man this whole time. I assume you are because you haven't corrected me. But thank you. I appreciate that.
It's a very masculine name.
Yeah, of course. And also, he's an autist who follows AA, so that's like 99.9% chance he's male. So there.
Yeah, no, I remember hearing his name on AA's. Oh, I miss you, bros.
Oh, me too. I miss it so bad.
I miss D and AA, mate. They were just
it's been my main weekly socializing for 5 years. Like I miss it. Like it was a big part of what I did. But I mean, AA was right that instead of drawing it out, if he was tired of it, he should just stop it instead of letting it fizzle and become something crappy. But I think he's going to bring it back and try to make a crap load of money because I know how AA thinks. I think he's going to miss it too. And then he's going to want to come back, and he's going to come back with it just to make a buck and because he misses it. So that's what
we should start a protest movement to bring back UO. I don't know. Like we can. Hey, look, we can throw like soup over like artworks and stuff like that when they're like, what cause are you like protesting for? It'd be like, I want UO back, and they'll be like, what? I'll be like, you don't understand.
You don't understand. You don't understand. You're not from the streets.
You're not from the streets, bro.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Guys, I had a lot of fun talking about this. I will be back Monday night with Discordant Dragons. I'm pretty sure I have on... I know I've got American Elitist. I don't remember who else is on, but we'll be there Monday night. And Chris, of course, will be back with the Happening Monday. Correct, sir?
Correct.
All right. Well, let's go to Embiggen View then, and we will sign off.
Okay, Embiggening.
As always... I hope that you learned stuff from this stream series. I know that we joke and we laugh about stuff, but the whole reason I became a content creator wasn't to make money. It was to reach out there and see if there were other people who felt like they were sane in an insane world. And that's why I became a voice. And I have found these people. And many of these people are kind enough to share money with me. So I've made a very small, meager living doing this the last 5 years. And I appreciate you. Thank you very much. So if you get anything positive from this stream series, consider donating $1 a month or dropping us a paid chat here and there. It really does matter because this is all that me and Chris do to make money now. And I do appreciate it. So hopefully, knock on wood, we'll make a little more next week. And also, next week, I will have all of my regular scheduled things. Empire of Lies Thursday, Discordant Dragons, and my Morning Walk Tuesday. And I also have 2 pickup streams in the works, but I'm not going to spoil what those are yet. So I'll announce those when and if I can put them together. All right. Chris, anything else in particular you want to show before we bounce?
No, just, come to the Happening on Monday, newsfist.net. You've got all the links there. It should be fun. And thanks for coming, everyone. This was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, it'll happen when the weather cools. That's when I will go to Taco Bell. And there will be like loud rumblings, water will drip from the insecure toilet and all that kind of other stuff.
We have a last minute paid chat before we bounce. It's from Alex. For $5 over on Odyssey. Thank you, brother. He says, trust of the clan. It was spelled with a K. That's a good one. I've not heard that one yet. That's good.
Oh, that's good. Dude, that's fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, and we'll end on this little gem here. Gulag Café cured my AIDS.
we do our best. Since there is no proper medical care under communism, you'll have to be cured by listening to Gulag Cafe. It is good for all of your ills, comrade.
Yeah. All right. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday. Both of us will be. Good night. God bless.
See ya.